Hello everyone, Tony again here for more Let's Play The Long Dark. So we are super tired and we're going to get straight on with it. It is pretty close to dusk, so I guess that's relatively good timing, but we should have something to drink and something to eat before we lie down. Otherwise we're going to wake up in the dark horribly hungry and horribly thirsty. Relatively new kind of dried food here that we've found, which is nice. But I think we're going to be running pretty low on this stuff again here soon. So I'm starting to wonder if terms like stale when it comes to a granola bar mainly have to do with how much durability the item has left, rather than it being something that can potentially make you unwell. But I guess I could be wrong. I'm going to max it all the way out to 12 hours of sleep. And hopefully that means we're going to wake up fairly close to dawn. Looks like the aurora is going to help us out so that we can actually see what's going on. So the next thing that we're going to do after we have a drink, and I am going to apologise to you for doing this, dear viewers, but I think we're going to have to do a little bit of inventory management. We're horribly overburdened, so I'm going to dump a whole bunch of shit on the ground that I don't need at this immediate moment. And I also think that we're not going to go back into the building just yet, because otherwise all we're going to do is just pick up a whole bunch more stuff that I then also can't carry. And we're just going to be repeating the pattern. So I'm going to drop a lot of things. I'm going to try and make sure that I keep one, or let's say in the case of the flare, I might keep two different things. And I'm going to try and prioritize so that I have a bunch of essentials, but I'm not carrying heaps and heaps and heaps of needless weight. All right. We still have 10.73 kilos left to go. What should we do? What should we do? It's just at dawn. Should we break down things or should we just drop things? Let's check and see if anything's in drastic need of repair. Wait, I can wear that. That would be good to repair. Let's do that now. Happy to spend the time repairing things, but spending too much time breaking everything down I don't think would be a great move. That could do with some repair. That sewing kit's running low, but I think we have a second one that we found. Out of cloth. 67%. How would one repair that? With cured leather, which I have, and that is not cured deer hide. And I think for a half hour's worth of work, I think that's going to be great trade. 16 degrees extra warmth. Socks are reasonable, shoes are reasonable, pants are reasonable. So I think that's going to be good enough at this point. So back to the dropping of things. Anything that we don't currently need is going on the floor. That can go, that can go, that can go, that can go. I really wish that there was a way of seeing or sorting by only the things that you're not wearing. Kind of worried about dropping something on the ground that I want to be carrying. We are going to keep all our food, but we're totally going to drop some of these things. That can go, that can go. Charcoal we need. Flares, we'll keep a couple. We only need one hatchet. Hooks will be handy. We only need one knife. Keep the lantern fuel. Definitely keep the crowbar. That's good, that's good, that's good. I don't want to drop any of those. And therein lies the challenge, right? Let's see. Extra wood. What are we carrying? Wait, what? Oh, these are the new ones that we just... Okay, yes. Okay, we found them and we're going to take them back to the other thing. Here's the problem, right? I kind of don't have anything else that I want to drop. And we're still overburdened by a couple of kilos. Maybe we're not being ruthless enough. Just a book. We don't need that. Not going to throw away matches. 2 kilo fire log, but that could be a lifesaver, so we'll keep it as well. Herbal tea, handy to have. All the heavy clothes I'm wearing, I guess that's contributing as well. Newsprint, no. So here's an idea. We can probably convert some of this weight by consuming it. Because we are still sort of hungry and thirsty. Let's try that out. So I think those are a quarter of a kilo each, which is not inconsiderable. We're going to mix a variety of different bubbly beverages rather than just drinking one of the same thing all the time. That brings us to better, and in fact, I'm going to call that good enough. It's still early morning, so let's set out on an adventure. Look at that nice little pile of things. So I think what we should be doing is we're going to swing back by the loggers' huts that were in a little while ago, because there is some curing deer hide and deer guts on the ground there. We're going to drop these other ones of a similar type that we've just found, so that we have enough to build ourselves. Was it deerskin shoes or deerskin pants? I think it might have been shoes, where we only need 2 hides for it. After we've done that, I think we'll head the other way from those loggers' huts, and we'll see what we can find out and about. Is that a lookout tower up there? I think it is. Maybe that will be a place to go to at some point as well. I have no idea how to get there right now. How big is this map? Quite large, I think. So it's clear weather. I'm assuming that doesn't mean that it's terribly warm. Oh, it's better than being out at night. I wonder if those tall rocks over there are the boundary of the map, or are there other paths through here that we could find. I really don't know how many areas there are that we haven't discovered yet, or what might be hidden in them or lurking in them. Are bears less common on easy difficulty, or are they just as common but they don't tend to bother you as much? And I'm also imagining just how difficult a fairly short, straightforward journey like this one would be if it were getting dark and if the weather were turning. Not pleasant to think about. I mean, this this playthrough is not going to last forever, so at some point we're going to perish. And I'm kind of curious to discover how that will be. Dehydration, starvation, exposure, bear, food poisoning from eating rancid venison. Still mid-morning. Still fairly hydrated. All our stats are looking good. And we'll make sure we put these on the floor, but not on top of the other things. So here seems fair. And where would it be? There they are. Drop that. Drop those. Good. 1% cured, 21% cured. Nice. And it looks like the hide and the guts are curing at the same rate. That's convenient. All right, off we go. As always, holding a stone in our hand. Strange that we have a hunting knife but don't seem to be able to wield it. Because it's not in the radial menu. Is that because we're missing something? It does feel odd to me. Let's investigate. Actions. Sharpen. Harvest. But I can't add it to a radial menu the way that I can add food to a radial menu. Where are my weapons? Rocks are weapons. Unequip. So I guess that means that if it were a weapon, there would be an equip button next to it, and there isn't. All right, sure. Those huts are quite hidden from view there, approaching from that direction. Interesting. So while we have the sprint, I guess we use it as much as we can, because we want to cover as much ground as we can before night time. Because I do not know where we are going to rest our weary head, because I don't think I've been this way on the map before. This feels like a leveled, graded area. I'm guessing that there's probably a road underneath all the snow that presumably logging trucks would be moving along in the warmer climes. It's like a radio transmission tower up there. I guess that would be near to the lookout tower that we saw. Interesting. Yep, and there's another street sign, so I guess we're definitely in a logging area. Exhibit A through Z. So there's no clear barrier of rocks over in those trees. Maybe we'll have a wander over in that direction. Looks like a pathway, presumably up that mountain, just over here, but that feels like an obvious thing to do. And I'm feeling lucky. Well, that's not true at all. I'm feeling adventurous, might be a more accurate way of describing what's going on. I mean, we have stones. What could be lurking in the forest that we couldn't use stones to defend ourselves against? All these really dark tree stumps look like things hunched on the ground. It's surely not just me, right? What is that? A deer. All good. So that way looks a little less steep than those areas over there. Is that a corpse or is that a rock with some grass growing next to it? Let's find out. Maybe it's two rocks. I think it is two rocks. All right, keep going this way then. And we'll head up this slope and see what's here. That looks like a sapling. Is it a sapling? Can I harvest that thing? It is a sapling, a birch sapling. What do I use that for? Freshly harvested birch sapling needs to be cured before it can be used for crafting and repair. Can be used for crafting and repair after air drying indoors for 4 days. Sure. That tells me that I can use it, but it doesn't tell me what I can make with it. I mean, a bow would be an obvious thing to think of, but it was very specific that it was a type of sapling, a birch sapling. Are birch saplings good for making bows and arrows? Just bows? Just arrows? Here's another one. Let's ask it and find out. Greetings. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I mistook you for someone else, a birch sapling. Might I ask, what are you used for? Oh, I see, I see. Do you mind terribly if I do this? Very well. Air drying indoors for 6 days. That's much longer than the other one. Okay, so saplings are a thing that are around here, and I don't recall seeing them before. So maybe this is an area where they're common. So I guess while I'm here, I should look for them and try and grab as many as I can. Now, quite some time ago, we did find some climbing rope up against some of the rocks. And I believe I've also found climbing rope as just a free kind of standalone item out and about in the world. So that leads me to think that it's possible for me to find a climbing rope and find areas to use it on, but I have zero idea how that would work. Maybe there are caves around here. Maybe there are other climbing ropes, although this does feel a little bit edge of worldy right now. We are up awfully high. Any lichen in the trees? No. This is kind of the spot, I guess, if you're in a Tomb Raider game where you'd expect to find like a shiny or a relic or something like that, but that's not how this game rolls. Wow, looks like we're actually up higher than that radio tower and lookout tower. Okay. And is all that heavy white fog the result of being near the world's edge? Or is the weather going to turn on us? Now, seeing as we've got the rock equipped and I haven't thrown it yet, I did see the instructions on screen there before that I hold left to aim. I can still move, that's good to know. If I release it, I don't throw it, alright. And I move a bit slower when I'm aiming as well. Now I'm guessing that if I throw a rock, I can still get it back. Might be worth doing a little bit of rock throwing practice. Because I'm feeling like we've been fairly fortunate so far in our wildlife encounters. And I'm not sure that's... wow, that was lower than I thought. Seems to be kind of... wow, look at it, skipping as well. Seems to be throwing in a mostly predictable direction relative to where that hand is. But I'm sure when I'm under pressure that I'm going to flub it completely. And, you know, let's face it, if it's a bear, it probably doesn't make any difference anyways, so... these prolonged sections of just quiet contemplation and trudging through the landscape. But I'm sure if the end comes, it comes quickly, one might say. How on earth did that happen? Did I slip on ice? Did I... ooh, boy, that feels different on the stick too. I don't know how that happened. That didn't look or seem like a tricky piece of maneuvering I was doing, but I guess I slipped. Something in how my character controller was maneuvering in the world past some threshold values, and then some form of dice roll or lookup table had some bad news for me. That's my unromantic assumption with my designer hat on. Guess that's something I need to fix. How do I do that? You have twisted your ankle and are now suffering a sprain. Your mobility will be reduced until you treat it or it heals over time. Treatment, 2 painkillers or some tea. Recovery time, 4 of 4 hours, 2 of 2 hours. I don't want to do that while I'm outside. So I'm not having a lot of fun, but I also don't have anything broken. And so I guess, given the time of day, still the middle of the day, the best approach is to find the nearest shelter. Now I know of a shelter, which is the one that we just came from, but it's a reasonable hike away. Maybe there's a better one nearby. I don't have my weapon equipped. You cannot equip a weapon while you have a sprained wrist. Well, damn. That's way more worrying. Like, way, way, way more worrying. We are going to head straight back and try and find somewhere where we can recover from that sprained wrist. Wow, this is really steep. Maybe I'll sprain another wrist. Oh no, where are we? What is happening? It's getting very cold. This is not great. A little bit of hopping there. Alright. And we're back. I also can't sprint while I have a sprained ankle. Ugh. This would be the time, if the weather gods were feeling unkind, for a huge storm to sweep in. And then we can't see. I think this is what I was saying. Is that a corpse before? And I assumed it wasn't, but maybe it is. Let's have a look, seeing as we're here. Maybe there'll be a spare wrist. No, it's just weirdly placed rocks. There is a can. I think this is one of those things that you find in the world. It's like a collectible. Have you poked around enough corners of the map? All right. We have a challenge before us, dear viewers. If I'm going to wrap this, part of the Let's Play up in time, this game only saves when we sleep or when we enter a structure. So with my reduced mobility, I now have to try and find my way, I guess, inside somewhere. Because I'm not imagining that I'm going to be able to sleep in the outdoors without dying of exposure. Can we do that without sprinting? Also getting very tired, so I'm going to start slowing down, and that tiredness is going to mean that my encumbrance threshold, I believe, changes as I fatigue. And I don't know what's at the top of that hill, so I can't really rely on trying to climb up there in the hopes that there's somewhere to sleep. I think we're just going to have to try and get back to where we were before, which at least will bring us back to a familiar location that also is going to have some deer hide curing in it. So we found one birch sapling and one maple sapling. I believe one of those needed 4 days of curing indoors. The other one needed 6. That's a significant amount of time. In fact, I think that 6 days is probably about the length of time that this entire adventure has taken so far. Oh, a backpack. Water, sardines. Thank you. How thirsty are we? Not very. Kind of hungry. Might try and keep on top of that. Even slightly while we can. Good. Boy, it's cold. Oh, not as cold as I thought. Feels like 1 degree. It's not too bad. You know you're in a crazy climate when 1 degree Celsius is... Oh, this is pleasant. The fluids in my body are literally not trying to freeze. So something I've been wondering about as we've been playing through this Let's Play is how I am building my mental map of this environment. Because there are really big features like these giant peaks that we can see off in the distance, and sometimes they're more visible or less visible depending on lighting conditions, depending on weather or fog. But I can hold that. Wait a minute, right trigger, survey local area. Does that mean it draws a map for me just by holding the trigger? Oh, it does. Look at that. That's super handy to know. Okay, mystery solved. So at the moment, most of my mental map that I'm building of where I am and what's going on is based around structures, I think. So I'm remembering things like, where is the rail line? Where is the train derailment? Where are the fishing huts? Where is the camp office? Where is the dam? So in short, I'm using human structures to remember vague directions and where I need to head and where I'm going. And even along this section here, I'm remembering that there is, even if it's buried beneath snow, there's a road, and I walk down the clearing in the trees along the road. So this is the beginner map. We're nearly at our destination and pretty much on time too. This is the beginner map, and I believe it says in its description that there is a good balance of natural locations and man-made structures. So I'm really wondering how much more difficult it would be for me on other maps where there are less human structures, and whether I'd use a different way of remembering where I am, or whether I'd get horribly, horribly disoriented. But I guess we can find that out eventually if we survive long enough here, or if we start playing on another map at a later date. Anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in to this Let's Play. Very much appreciate it. So please, if you have been enjoying this, feel free to like, comment or subscribe to the First 10 Minutes channel. And also, if you want to check out the First 10 Minutes podcast, you can find it at thefirst10minutes.com. And if you want to ping me, Tony, personally on Twitter, my Twitter handle is @Kalinscald. That's KALINSKALD. I would love to hear from you with your thoughts or your feedback on this Let's Play series, or on the podcast, or any of the previous things that I have contributed to. So thank you all very much for watching, and come back soon for more Let's Play The Long Dark.